Hello there. I've got an exciting day for you. Welcome to Spotlight Interviews. I am Melanie Browning, and very shortly I will be having Sean Dillingham joining us live. So I know a lot of you have probably been waiting for this to get time to ask him questions, and he is a wealth of knowledge on all things acting, comedy, commercials, and so much more. So as soon as he jumps in here, we'll bring him on and you can start asking your questions now. We'll scroll back through and let's see if he gets on here. I'm so excited. Sean has got over 190 commercials to his credit, 90 plus films, and 25 national television series. So if you haven't heard of him yet, I'm sure you've seen him and you know him, and he is in the chat here. So Sean, I am going to go ahead and send you a request if I know what I'm doing here. Join on with us here. Ooh, people already joining. Thank you so much for stopping in. Okay, it says you joined. I'm not seeing it switch over yet. Hold on here. So I sent you, Sean, I sent an invite your way. If you're seeing anything pop up, go ahead and click on that. If you have not, oh, hey, what's up, Rob? Thanks so much for joining in. If you're not seeing that, Sean, there should be an ask to go live somewhere in the chat. Just go ahead and click on that, and then that will kind of do the reverse. If not, we'll jump off here. We'll figure out what's going on. I've had this happen like twice before, so no big deal. And it might just need to be an update or something. Hold on here real quick. Yes! Awesome. There you are.
We'll figure out what's going on.
So I'm getting some feedback.
Oh, this is a horrible view. I'm trying to get this on my desktop, but it won't go to my desktop.
Yeah, you know, if anyone's watching, for those of you, I know there are a lot more tech savvy people. I think there's a third like party app that you can get to be able to do it from your laptop.
Oh my God.
But
Everything's playing.
I hear myself. Oh my goodness.
Everything's playing.
Oh, awesome. So many people jumping in here. I'm excited. So excited.
All right,
wave to these people.
Just putting this on my computer like an old man.
There we go.
People to help me. Okay. Oh, gee. I should have gotten up about 8 hours ago.
No, don't do that.
Thing out of the way. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you great. How about on your end? You hear me?
Yeah, cool. Good. But my lighting is horrible. I'm trying.
You're doing great.
You're doing.
That's what I love. That's what I love about these lives, though, is it really just gives, you know, everyone a perspective of what's going on. Like this is real life. This is what goes on. And
Right, Natalie. Okay. It's as good as it's getting.
It looks great. It looks great. Not a whole lot. I'm super stoked to have you on. It's been something I've been wanting to do for a couple of years now. So thank you so much for joining me here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So I was telling, I don't know if what you heard, but I was kind of sharing a little bit just about, like, I mean, you have so much that you've done, so many different programs, you know, the 190 plus commercials, the 25 national television, like that one's mind blowing to me. I mean, even the 190, that's a large number, but so mind blowing. I'm just curious, like, how does that sit with you? Like,
how do you do it?
Well, I mean, that's there too, but like, how does that sit with you? Like, do you take a moment and like kind of look at that? Is that something you really kind of sit with and understand, or just can you fathom it?
No, you can't think about it, because honestly, it doesn't matter. The only one it matters to is me. I could win an Academy, and I tell actors this all the time, I could win an Academy Award, and I would send that out to auditions and castings, and they would go, oh my God, You won an Academy Award. You were directed by Quentin Tarantino. My God. So what can you bring to my project? And I'd still have to, you got to prove yourself all the time. It does not, so you never make the mistake of believing your own press release. You just kind of, you go, okay, it's cool. It's another notch. That's cool. And, you know, if you look at it and nothing happens, it will just frustrate you and drive you crazy. And you will constantly ask, why? Why am I not moving forward? Why is this not happening? And the only, and going back a little bit, the only reason I do have that many credits is because I never fell into the trap of thinking, okay, I've reached here, and now I'm never going back and taking anything that I consider less than me and what I've done so far. Don't you know who I am? Don't you know what I've done? I'm like, this is the lead bad guy. Okay, thank you. This is just a bartender role, and you're only going to shoot for a day. Okay, you're not the lead in the commercial, but you're like the third banana to the lead. Okay, you take, you know, an actor acts.
Well, and I think that's what's so great. Like watching the stuff that you've done is like you really get into that character. It doesn't matter what it is. You're there. You're like, okay, I have this opportunity to act. I'm going to have fun with it. I'm going to do my things. I mean, I don't know what, you know, your process, but you definitely just own whatever it is. You own that character. And so that's beautiful.
I go, oh, I'm not going to be the lead. I'm going to be this guy. Okay, you watch what I do with this then. I'm going to steal this with that role. That's what you know, you walk into the audition, and so many people walk in questioning themselves, wondering if they're at the right place. Should they do this? And I go into an audition with letting my confidence and my ego and everything else lead, because I'm not tall, I'm not young, I'm not Brad Pitt good looking, I'm not any. So I have to lean into my talent, and I walk in like, okay, I told those other people in the lobby they could go. This is gonna. I'm setting the bar this high. So I mean, that's just it. You just, you know,
I love that.
Have to lean into your talent and your ability, and that's just kind of my process, you know. And it's fun. It's fun, and I don't go into it thinking, oh my God, I have to land this. I have to land this. I want it so bad. I have bills due. I go into it thinking, okay, this is my little 5-minute window, my little 5-minute performance that I can show you what I can do. And because if you go into it like, oh God, I really want this, they'll go, we know, we can smell it.
You feel it. Yeah, smell it. It's before you even enter the room, they can feel it. What now? I know you teach so much and you give great valuable lessons, but for here right now, what would you tell someone that finds themselves, they're either new at it or they don't know what their specific talent is and they're walking into the room, or beforehand, where can they go to be able to get the mindset to have some sort of confidence?
Like to jump into acting? Is that what you?
Well, say they're actors already, but they're kind of new. You know, they're getting auditions, and maybe they have a self-tape coming up or something. How can they prep themselves in the moment? Because like you can do a lot of stuff beforehand, but in the moment where you know you're about to go into the audition room or do a live Zoom audition, what's a tip that you can offer them to be able to kind of own that confidence in themselves?
Well, job number one is to relax. I know that sounds cliche, but even Jack Nicholson said that's the reason he smokes pot, is because it relaxed him. And you have to be in a relaxed, pliable state of mind, because nobody can do anything creative like this. You have to relax, and really you have to, I mean, you have to care, but you, in a sense, you have to not care, because there are so many reasons that they're going to say no that has nothing to do with you. You know, oh, you're too tall, you're too short, you're too fat, you're too tall, you're too short, and it's like, well, I'm never going to be taller. Just
the apple box.
Kind of be carefree in your creativity is what I mean, more so. You can't put so much pressure on yourself, because you're never going to be able to do anything creative. So relax. And I you know, I tell actors all the time to take classes, take training. That doesn't mean be a perpetual student.
Mhm.
I have people all the time that are like, I have 14 certificates, as I have certificates behind me. I have with the awards and shit, but I have, people that come, I have 14 certificates. I'm a level 5. And I'm like, wow, you would think you would be better at this point. Maybe you should start getting on sets. You should start getting on sets. And what frustrates me as a teacher is I see actors that will come to class 6, 7, 8 times, and then I never see them again. And I'm like, what happened to you? And they're like, oh, I started auditioning and I started landing some roles in unpaid projects and student films, and so yeah, I got it. I don't need any more classes. And I'm like, well, I hope your dentist doesn't feel that way. And
Yeah.
if you're taking classes and you're starting to land things, maybe you should lean into that. Maybe there's a reason, because not only have you not touched the tip of the iceberg of where you could go, you haven't even touched the bottom of the iceberg. And those same students that just get so excited and jump into the world of acting and auditioning, and I see them years later, and that's where they still are. They've never really progressed. And
Yeah, they peeled back that first layer, but then that's just where they stayed. It's like to continue
and
shifting and
listen, by progressed, I don't mean uh, that anything to do with classes or teachings or whatever. I mean progresses in their own self-expression, because I'm not I don't subscribe to a certain method, Meisner method or this technique or that. I'm just like, I want to see how you react, because how Melanie would get angry, which it would be totally quiet, totally different than how I would get angry.
Mhm.
Get quiet and not say anything and just kind of shut down. Whereas I'm like an angry,
You know me. You've seen my anger.
yeah, I'm throwing stuff over in the room like an angry silverback, and that's what we want to see, is how that individual expresses themselves,
Mm.
and they have enough yet to even tap into that, and that's what I'm like, man. There's so much still, to learn, and I see actors that just class after class after class after class, and then their reactions become so robotic. Well, this is how I was taught to be angry. This is how I was taught to be sad. And I'm like, how about the way because there's going to be a bit of you in the role. So how do you get angry? How do you get sad? That's the artistic part. That's the individuality part. And nobody taught you how to lean into that, your self-expression, the way you would do this role. And they go, oh, so it's an act.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so profound, and it's refreshing to hear, or not refreshing, but to be reminded of that. I think that's kind of the key, is to have that constant reminder, because I think we can easily get caught up in, oh, I'm doing the things, I got this, but keeping yourself in those spaces to be able to continue to do that and have that person reminding you.
Always be learning. Always be learning. And like, there's a great saying they've always said, and that is, if you're an actor, if you're not acting, you should be training. And that's true. And that always mean, FYI, let me add a little caveat, a little footnote to this. I don't mean, nobody's ever put out a casting going, hi, I'm looking for 5 actors that are really overtrained. I mean, really heavily just, they go, we need 5 people that know how to ride tandem bikes. We need somebody who knows how to fly fish. We're looking for somebody who knows how to ride a horse proficiently, or a bullwhip practitioner. They're looking for specific skills. And so what I always tell actors is, get on Groupon and start taking all those free classes. Learn how to throw clay, learn how to paint, learn how to rock climb, get scuba certified, because not only will that make you more marketable as an actor, but it just makes you an interesting human being. And psychologically, you could have one up on the competition, because when you go to the audition and there's 18 people in the lobby and everybody goes in, and you're like, wow, they're only going in 1 minute at a time. This is, and you go in, inevitably they will ask you as the actor, so Melanie, tell us something interesting about yourself. And the last thing they want to hear is, well, I'm an actor and I love to act. And when I'm not acting, I think about acting. Next.
Yeah.
go in and you say, well, I am Patty certified scuba diver, and I recently had the opportunity to go cave diving in Cancun, and we eventually came upon human skeletal remains. And they'll go, okay, to hell with the audition. Tell us about that.
Yeah.
And then you have the eyes and the ears of the room for the next 5 or 10 minutes, or however long it takes to tell your story. You can be eloquent, you can be engaging, and then you're in there 10 minutes, and everybody else in the lobby is sweating bullets, going, "Oh my God, she totally got it! She totally got it!" And then you walk out after you told them this story. You've done your audition, and they all sit in that room and they go, "Love her, love her," and they don't know what it is, but you've had the opportunity to engage them with that story.
Yeah.
So don't be so just actor.
What I love about that is, like, even though that's not technically acting, you're still expressing yourself, like what you were mentioning before. It's just another element of it, and bringing in the storytelling to it. So it's beautiful, just being able to express oneself and share that with others.
The actors come on the talk shows and they're like, well, here's what happened to me recently. And they charming and engaging, and that's what you have to do. You have to put that part on.
Absolutely. One of the questions that I'm wondering, as far as your talents, so you said, lean into the things that work for you. When did you know, where your talents and which direction you were going to go in? When did you have awareness around that?
About the 6th grade. I was young, and it was in elementary school. The teacher goes, "We're going to do a play, and everybody's going to be in it." And I was shy, painfully shy,
Wow.
run away from school shy. And I was like, I don't want to be in the play. And they're like, well, you're going to be in it. I don't care if you're a tree, you're going to be in it. And so I was basically forced on stage, and I did my part, and I got reactions from this audience of parents and siblings and everything, laughter and clapping. And I was just like, for some reason, there was a separation there of, this isn't me. This is just that role that I'm being. And they're reacting at that. And I was like, so it's like this performance kind of front thing, and just loved it and pursued it and started acting, imitating and emulating my heroes, which were like Robin Williams and Steve Martin. And I saw that if I said things like they did or acted out things they did, people would laugh and like and go, "God, you're so animated." And I kept just going in that direction. And thankfully in school, theater classes, drama nerd, they fostered that and encouraged it. And I had great teachers that, there was one teacher in particular that, when we did book reading time and they go around the class and everybody takes a turn at reading, she would allow me to make comments about what people were saying or reading, and the kids in the room were laughing. And I was like, oh my God, there's something here. And I just wanted to continue that. So pursued it into theater and improv, and then I was seen in a play like 2021 by an agent, where I was playing a dog that learned how to talk, who basically had a relationship with his owner and then outgrew the relationship and was like, I gotta go. And she saw me evolve from being a dog to this talking person, and it got great laughs, and they were like, if you'll do this, you'll do anything. So it kind of just early on from there, I just, luckily it happened and it fostered that. So there you go.
At that point, did you were you thinking, I want to make this a career, and you were consciously kind of going after it, or just kind of following the things that happened, and then at one point you're like, oh wow, I'm doing this?
Just following the things that happened. And then when I signed on with an agent, because it had been theater, and I really like theater, but I really hate rehearsing. And
That's kind of hard.
2 months of rehearsal and a month of performances, and I was like, oh well, that's certainly not enough for me. And you do 3 plays and you're like, it's been a year and I've done 3 plays. Are you kidding? And so I looked into improv, and they were like, yeah, we don't have scripts, and we just get on stage and kind of make it up as we go. And I was like, oh, now we're talking. And it just kind of kept snowballing. And when I signed with the agent, I started getting commercial auditions, and I was like, and I didn't even know at the time, this is so green. But I didn't even, I did a commercial, it was a regional commercial, and I got paid. And then 3 months later, I got a check in the mail, and I was like, I looked at my wife and I went, oh my God, I think somebody screwed up. I keep getting checked. I got a check, and 3 months after that, I got a check. And then finally, after a year of holding on to these checks, I called my agent. I think somebody screwed up because I keep getting paid. And she goes, those are your residuals. I'm like, oh, so I didn't even know. But
That's awesome.
the fun and the creativity that I saw on sets that was so concentrated. Like, we're shooting this commercial today. Just today we're shooting. And I would show up and the set was built and there's lights and there's cameras. And at first you're like, what am I doing here? Someone has made a mistake. But they were encouraging, and I just loved the magic and the creativity. And I was just like, oh, this is for me. This is for me. And thankfully I was humbled early on, because some actors do a couple things and then they walk in like, excuse me, this is not Perrier, okay? So someone go get Perrier, because that's all I drink. Thank you. Bye-bye. I walked on set and I thought at that point, the actor is the most important thing on the set. I'm here, the actor. And I had this gigantic group of men that I looked right in the belt buckle at, and they were like, look, monkey boy, we've been here since 5 a.m., okay? And you sauntered in here at 11 a.m. That was your call time. And we're tired and we want to go to lunch. So don't screw up your lines. And I realized at that point, I'm probably the least important thing. That light has more of a purpose than me. And it humbled me early on to realize that I'm just one cog in a much larger machine, and team player. And don't come in with an attitude, and don't lean into, do you know what I've done? Because no one cares. You're here to do a job like them. It's a job, and you better do it, and you better do it well. And that's it.
And it's also great because the more that you do your job well, the more you're going to make them shine. I know, even though they might not be name recognition, but it shows that they're doing their job too.
Absolutely. You're part of a team. And that's the great secret and mystery of any shoot, TV show, commercial, film, tough, because you got to get 150 people all on the same page, working as a team for one person, the director's vision. And the last thing you want is to be the actor going, excuse me, question. What is my motivation here? The director goes, to get it done. Can we go? We're burning daylight. You just want to be the talented, not the talent, you want to be the team player.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be the guy that goes, okay, yes, sir, absolutely, yes, ma'am, you got it. Do I stand here? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I heard about Johnny Depp, who I thought was a great actor, who is a great actor, but this actress came out and she was like, he just eviscerated her on set in front of the crew, the director, and she was just like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. Yeah, just be a humble, nice person. That's it.
Absolutely.
That's the secret.
Well, I'm curious. I mean, because you've done so much, you've had a lot of opportunities. Comedy is kind of. I mean, you do it all, but comedy is kind of something that I know stood out to me. What is, and I love joy and fun and all of that. What do you think's your most fun time on a set, or if it did go back to theater? What was the most fun experience that you can think of?
Well, theater, that rush of being in front of an audience live. That this is it. We're not going to yell cut. We're not going to back it up. Better know your lines. Better know your blocking. So yeah, just that rush of being in front of people live, on set. Really, any time on set. I love the traveling. It's always an exciting adventure. Being on a set, whether it's whether it's been built or it's pre-built. I've shot a commercial recently where I was in a restaurant, and that's great. Surrounded by lights. It's a physical building. I've gone to old West towns to shoot. I've gone to major studios to shoot. So all of it is just, once you're on set and you're in your costume and you've got your makeup on, you're just like, man, I love what I do. Man. And it's every actor says, and that is, I wish I could do this. Wish I could do this every day.
Yeah, like that to be a 9 to 5 would be like, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, great if it was 9 to 5. It's not. It's 6 a.m., 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. I've never been a morning person, and every time I get a call, they're like, your call time's 6 a.m. No, they say your call time's 6. And I'm like, you mean p.m., right? p.m.? And they're like, no, it's 6 a.m. The weirdest one I ever got was 5:18 a.m. Your call time's 5:18 a.m. Like, is somebody screwing with me? Because it's very specific, and I feel like somebody's throwing that out. Like, let's make sure he's reading this.
I've had that in different meetings and stuff. It was like 8:08 because then you'll remember it.
5:18, and I go, why 5:18? The guy goes, SAG rules, they go by every 6 minutes. And I learn something every day. There you go.
That's interesting. I think that would stress me out. Like call sheets just stress me out, but I'm still pretty darn new at it. But it's like, did they mess up? Am I going to be there at the right time? And even though it's on there, am I going to, it's at 18 after. What if I get there? Yeah, I way overthink things.
No, you're at location 2. You need to go to locate. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I hate leaving the house and it's still dark outside. I'm like, oh, everyone's asleep and I'm down. The dogs are looking at me like, the hell are you doing up? And God, that's the part that's just like, ugh. Tell me you have Coca-Cola on the set because I need not that LaCroix. Oh God,
but then always. Once you get there, though, it becomes worth it. That's for sure. So
99% of the time, absolutely, 99% of the time.
Yeah. Because you've been in this for a while, I'm curious because I was kind of thinking back in the day of, how things used to be done and now and I know a lot's changed just even recently. How have you been able to adapt, and especially like with the online auditions, how do you feel about that, and how, do you see changes coming more, and how does it feel for you, like with those changes that are coming or have happened in the industry as far as auditioning?
I love it now because now I will submit for things nonstop. Before you used to have to sit back and hope that your agent called you, and that was your agent was just getting stuff for you locally. I have 7 agents across 7 different states that I get auditions all the time, in addition to the stuff that I'm getting on my own. So the fact that as an actor, you're more in the driver's seat is incredibly freeing and amazing. And there's times that I do 4 up in this studio, 4 and 5 auditions a day. Self-tapes are awesome because I remember the days of getting my VHS videotape and throwing it into the manila envelope and walking like, some kind of serial killer to the post office and dropping off, 18 manila envelope stuff with my headshot resume and videotape in hopes that somebody would watch it, because I heard stories of actors and other folks that were like, oh yeah, in the casting director's office, that whole corner from the roof to the ceiling, like 300 videotapes stacked that they haven't even watched. So now you see an audition, you film it, you send it in same day, same hour, you can send it in. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so much accessible now. And I can submit for things. I've submitted for stuff in Europe, in Asia, in Australia, all over the United States, Canada, South America. So, I love it now. Way better, way better. And the audition process is in my hands because I could film it 20 times and I could watch it and go, oh, this is not good. And I doing it instead of being in front of somebody once, doing it and going, feeling afterwards like you should apologize. I'm really sorry I wasted your. I was a casting director once who's no longer a casting director, and I knew everybody was going to do it the same way. So I went in with kind of instead of being like the spokesman, hi everybody, I went in kind of, what the hell are you looking at? Here, come buy this car. If you don't, I don't care. I've already got my check. And right in the middle of it, the casting director pulled her head up from the camera. She goes, okay, stop, with this just disgusted look. Stop. Okay, what are you doing? And I go, just my interpretation, my take. And they were like, yeah. She goes, yeah, don't do that. Just do it this way. And I was like, wow. Okay. Whatever.
Yeah. And that, I mean, so many things can be hard if you know, you have people like that, and then you have other people that are like, no, give me something totally fresh. I want something, you know, I want to be, you know, I want to see something new. I want you to stand out kind of thing. So
They do, but they also they don't want to look like they're also letting their actors run loose. You know, this they know what the director's looking for, what the client's looking for, so they want to keep you within those parameters. So you, as the actor, you should know that. And maybe I shouldn't have gone so extreme from everybody, but it's my thinking is, well, it's up to the client to say no. And why
yeah.
word on the camera, let me do my thing.
Yeah.
And then difficult. Okay. So there's a fine line.
And so that, I mean, that's a good question, a good point to bring up, because I know, you know, I don't see it as much anymore, but you know, also not being in the room like back in the day where you'd show up, but as far as like showing up to audition and they're just completely ignoring you, or someone's over here dropping stuff, and you know, and before, you know, I was a kid when I was experiencing that, and I would take it all personally, like, no, it's me. And then realizing that no, a lot of it's they're testing. Well, a lot of them, they're busy, they're doing their own thing, they've got stuff going on, but also they can be testing you to see if how on track you can be. Do you see a lot of that still kind of going on, or is self tapes kind of help remove that from you? From
Kind of removed it. This thing that I still see go on, and you honestly, the best advice I could have is just be like, you know, a parent to their child. You know, everybody's being mean to me. Well, then ignore them. Who cares what they think? Move on. You've kind of got to take that attitude. You know, I recently did a project where the leading actor, I shouldn't have said actor, the leading actor was really favored by the director. They were just like peanut butter and jelly on that set. They were, what's up? Yeah. Oh, fifth. And you know, you're standing there you're suddenly looking at everybody's back in the conversation. And you just kind of go, you know what? Hey, am I being paid? Yes. Am I in this? Yes. Am I on a set? Yes. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to act and get paid and do a job. And you know what? The crew is pretty cool. I don't have to be besties with these folks. So you move on. That's all you can do. Okay, cool. Not going to be everybody's friend or everybody's favorite all the time. You just got to kind of remember the big picture. You're on a set. You're getting paid. You're acting. Bada boom, bada bing. That's it.
It's a good way to shift. And I will, and it's kind of, I love being on sets, but yeah, that awkwardness of just getting there, it feels like going into the first grade. Like, who's gonna like me? And then yeah, just letting go of that and just remembering, go have fun. You're there to act.
Big names, and you're like, oh my God, it's so and so and so and so. And then you really feel like someone screwed up and made a horrible mistake. I should not be here. This is so wrong. You wanted someone else. And my favorite part is when I do those. Luckily, a lot of the things I've done, I have never watched. So I didn't go into it like, oh, but I got 2 projects coming up that I'm like, oh, but you know, when you're on set with these big names and then they mess up their lines and you go, oh, they're human. Watch.
Yes.
That's just a little mentally for me. It's like, okay, they just stumbled.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
You're not cheering for them to do that, but you're like, thank you. I needed that for my soul.
Pressure is off me because they just screwed up.
Yeah. And I when I see that, to me, it's just like, yeah, we're all human. This is, you know, we see the final cut when we're watching TV, and it's freaking, you know, if everyone did their job right, seamless and beautiful and perfect. And I think a lot of times it's easy, especially the bigger names, to go in thinking, oh my goodness, they're this, and to just remember that, you know, yes, we want to do our job and know what we're doing and not mess up, but we are human. So that's awesome. We've got it.
They're human.
Yes.
They're human. And
Yes.
so that's cool.
We've got a question here in the chat. What is your best advice to submit to new agencies if you don't have a reel?
Here's the thing. As an actor, early on starting, don't get obsessed with getting an agent because maybe you're not ready. You've got to remember as an actor, especially a new one, it is not all about you. You are also representing them. And if you screw up, it's not just you, it's their name. So don't be in a rush to get an agent. Right now, early on, you're in the resume building business. So you should be doing background work, you should be doing student films, you should be doing unpaid things, anything to build up the resume. And then when you do approach an agent, the first thing they want to see is your pictures and your resume, your body of work. So, and I know some actors that are new that have gotten obsessed with getting an agent and getting on SAG, joining SAG. And I'm like, okay, well, I hope you're done working
So
because
fast.
this is go ahead, join SAG and see where that takes you. So don't get obsessed. It will happen when it needs to happen. And this is why you got to be careful because when you approach an agent, if you do not have your stuff together, you're going to make a bad first impression. And it's very hard to get past a bad first impression. And some agents have policies of, yeah, Melanie, we're not interested right now, but you know what? Submit back to us in 6 months or submit back to us in a year. And you're like, a year? Are you kidding? That's their policy. So you want to make sure you have the right kind of headshots. The resume is formatted correctly and you have good applicable job experience, training, skills, all kinds of things. Because they want to look at you and go, yeah, you know what? You would represent our brand, our name very well. And if they say no, then they say no. It's not oh God, they said no, and they're an agent and they know, and I have no talent. And they just said, just right now. It's just no right now. Maybe you need to.
And it could be they're more commercial and your looks more for like film, or that's kind of what you're doing. And there could be a lot of different things. I think finding that out is helpful.
Sometimes the market dictates what it is they're looking for. Right now, we live in a climate of is the lighting getting better? By the time we're done, I'll have it perfect. We live in a market of DEI, and they're looking for other things. They're not looking for Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. They're looking for Denzel. Or folks with different backgrounds. So I mean, the market really dictates what it is they may be representing right now. I could not go to an agent, yeah, I want to be a model. And they'd be like, yeah, well, when Lord of the Rings is casting, well, I'm not 6'3", 110 pounds and nothing but cheekbones. So the market also dictates a litany of reasons. So just go out there, get those skills, take the right kind of training and build your resume up, and then be ready to submit. Because if they say no, oh my God, nothing is longer than the time that it takes to resubmit. And then some people might get angry. No, I'm not. No, they told me no the first time. I'm not submitting again. No. And I'm like, why are you going to be angry? You got to move past that. You got to move past that. That's it.
That's awesome.
I wish I had better encouraging, but right now, just build your resume, your headshot, get a reel made. It's all about the presentation. If I go in as an actor and I'm like, here's my commercial headshot, here's my theatrical headshot, here's my resume, here's my IMDb link, and here's my acting reel, both commercial and theatrical. Then they go, okay, all right, thank you for the tools in which we can market you. You get stuff together. We'd love to work with you. But if you're like, here's the picture my friend Brad took, I wrote down on that lined paper the stuff I've done, and this is a videotape my mom took him. They're going to be like, thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
You have together. You're like a small business. You're a small business. And how are you? And you are your own best salesman. and you are your product. How are you going to present yourself?
Yeah. And I think, you know, a lot of people just, you know, that, oh, I want to be an actor. I want to do this. And, you know, we grab onto the things that we know or that we hear. And so people know agent, SAG. And so those are the things that they grab onto. And then they, oh, I've got to have this because that's going to make this. And so getting this kind of knowledge, getting in classes, getting around people that have the experience, finding it is super important. And I believe it was from you that I saw that's super helpful for people, I think, that are new to the business. Don't you have like a book or ebook or something that kind of does terminology? Is that from?
Yeah, I have. There's a couple of PDFs out there that I put out, but there is a groundbreaking new book, and I can't remember the name of the title. I will let you know, but it's really a great book.
Okay,
And
just hold it right there. Just yeah.
it's
Oh,
called,
it's backwards.
I called it that, the book on acting. Why? Because in any interview, I want them to say, now this guy wrote the book on acting. Please welcome. But I wrote this book, and the best review that I got was somebody said, wow, that is a gut punch of a book, because it is not, it's not whimsical. It's not, I mean, this is something wacky that happened to me in 1983. It's not inspiring. It is, somebody said, I want to be an actor. Tell me, tell me the truth. Tell me the real deal. And I was like, you got it. Sit down. And I go, you know, over it, you know, things like take real classes, as we spoke about. Understand that this is a gypsy lifestyle. Oh my God, I can't say that. That's not politically correct. But that's the fact of the matter. It's a gypsy lifestyle. You will never act in the same place twice. So be prepared to get a rental car and go to San Diego, go to Vegas, go to Los Angeles, go to Utah, go to New Mexico, because no one's ever going to say, we're going to really make this convenient for you.
Yeah.
You, us. I knew an actor that did a real estate video, and all they had to do was read off of a teleprompter, an electronic script, easy peasy. They did it, 2 hours, $500, easy money. 2 weeks later, they contacted them and said, we loved them. Can they do it again? And you know what they said? I can't get it off work. I can't do it. And I go, they will never hire you again. You $1,000 in a month and kept working with them because of your job and your convenience. You told them no. And so it's always got to be yes, and you go.
Yeah.
Everything,
There's a commitment factor.
everything be damned. I'm getting a car and I'm going. And sometimes you'll do things where you're like, okay, it pays $1,000, and they're like, you're working as a local hire, and so that means they're not going to pay your travel, they're not going to pay your hotel, and you get in the car and you drive 500 miles and you do it, and you're getting paid this flat $1,000, which sounds like a great deal of money, but let me tell you something. After your $300 rental car and at least 150 in gas, and then another 300 or 400 for a hotel room,
If you're lucky
you're coming
to find one.
yeah, home and you're breaking even. And you're like, wow, but you got a great credit, something nice to add to your resume. So that's the that's sometimes the hard pill to swallow, but
That is
you
reality. Yeah. And you can, I got a call where it's like, hey, can you be here tomorrow? You know, like I'm sure you've gotten a ton of those where it's just like, yep, you just got to you got to practice that. Yes, I will be there.
yeah, okay, tomorrow, huh?
And figure it out. Figure out how you can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I talk to actors, and I touch on that in my book is you know, you have to redefine when you start this what making it means, because so many actors, I want to make it, and I'm like, what does that mean to you? Do you think making it is a mansion, millions, a red carpet, and being driven in limousine? Because that happens to less than 1/1000th of a percent. And a lot of that has to do with luck. But if you want to be an actor and be willing to do anything from TV, film, commercial, student films, whatever, any role doesn't always have to be the lead, then you will have a long and fruitful career, because the Tom Cruises and the Brad Pitts and the Angelina Jolies are 1 in a billion, but they could look at you and say, they need the lady that looks like the camp counselor. They need the lady that looks like the school teacher. They need the guy that looks like the Uber driver. They need the lady that looks like she's the head of the HOA. Then if you're like, okay, now you have a great career. Now you can keep acting until the day you die. But people get this mindset of, oh, I've done this and I'm not going back. I'm not going back. And it's like you're your own roadblock. You can't be your own roadblock.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great thing to have. The gut punch is needed, because if you get it in the book, it's not going to hurt so bad when you're getting it in life. It's still going to sting, but if you know what you're prepared for.
Yeah, and people ask all the time, what's the toughest part of acting? What's the hardest part? Is it the travel? Is it the learning of the lines? And I'm like, no. You know what the toughest part of acting is? It has nothing to do with acting. Are you ready for this? I'm going to roll out some reality for you. The toughest part of acting is the stick-to-itiveness. The being told no 20 times, 40 times, 100 times, and being told no, nothing that has to do with you, nothing. And in 6 months, you haven't even had an audition. You want to talk about going, you know what? Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Nobody likes me. I'm not landing anything. Yeah, that's the toughest part. The stick-to-itiveness, the taking classes and training, even though you haven't landed anything. And you're training, and an actor should be like a Navy SEAL in that you're always training, being ready, because you can be called at any moment's notice. Never called. I mean, the fortitude that you have to have, the stick-to-itiveness, that is the toughest part of acting. When you're like, I want to roll. Yeah, they're not casting for short, older, bearded men now. No, sorry. Yeah. And you're like, I really have talent. Yeah, good for you. Well, nothing right now. And it's been a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. And you're like, oh my God. But you got to stick to it. You have to stick to it. This cannot be a full-time occupation. It has to be a full-time obsession. This is what you have to do. This is what you were born to do. That's the toughest part. Stick to it.
How does that land for you when you have students that you know, like if they lean into their things, are they starting to lean into it, and they have that monster in the head, or they just don't have that stick-to-itiveness? How does that land for you to watch them go through that?
Well, it frustrates me in the sense their stick-to-itiveness in regards to me is with classes and training. As I said earlier, they'll take 2 or 3 months of classes and then I don't see them again. And I'm like, I get frustrated because I know that they should continue, and I get frustrated because I'm like, it's especially tough when you see somebody and you go, such potential, but they're in such a rush to start doing it that I'm like, you're gonna, this is how accidents happen. You want to hurry up and learn how to weld. You've taken a class, and look, you burned down the garage. Good job. Or you burned your hand off. Terrific. You got to just, it's a slow process, and people are generally impatient. They're generally impatient.
Yeah,
and
I want that success yesterday. Yeah.
For me, it's frustrating, and this too. A lot of people think that they miss the window because Hollywood likes to put out, especially that show Saturday Night Live. Only between 25 and 35 is funny. 25 to 35 is talented, and I'm like, buddy, you don't get good till you get old. Then you have that lifetime of experience to lean into. Because young folks, boy, did I just age myself there. Young people like to, they're full of vim energy drinks, and they do it with all this energy, but they're not relating in any experience to it. And somebody who's older will be a little more calculated with their delivery, take their time, because they know they don't have to be in a rush, and the words have weight. And when you don't. And actors generally hate this. They hate silence, and they think, I got to fill it with something. And I'm like, no, you don't. Because when you're not talking, that's when the audience is thinking for you. It's like reading a book. They're using their mind. This is what they're thinking right now. This is what's going through his head right now. And only as an older actor do you develop that kind of patience. Look at the Gene Hackmans and the Dustin Hoffmans and the Morgan Freemans, the Denzel Washingtons. They're a lot slower because they know their words have weight. And if I go slow and I take my time, I can have you hanging on every word. And sometimes the character needs it. And the playwright will give you little clues in the script where it says, listen, ... hang on, we're going to go. And they just listen, hang on, we're going to go. And I'm like, okay, you didn't see those beats, the exclamation points, the commas, the italics. They're giving you little hints as to how they want you to do it. And they ignore it and they burn through it. And I'm like, look at what the scene is, the heaviness of the scene. Take your time. What's the subtext? I have no idea. What the hell is subtext? The subtext is what's driving this conversation.
Really going on. Yeah.
It's the conversation beneath the conversation. And if you don't know what that is, basically what it is your character wants and needs, then all you're doing is remembering the words. And this is going to be a very cardboard performance. And you have to drop that and find the subtext. And they don't want to. They want to hurry up and just get going.
Yep.
So
yep.
It's good as you get older. My point being, the time to start is now. Now. The world is waiting for you and your type and your talent. As long as you understand yourself, what you look like, and you're willing to take any role. Yeah, I'll be the bartender. I'll be the Uber driver. I'll be the restaurant manager. You can't go, is this the lead? No? Okay, well, thanks anyway. What? Somebody just offered to pay you for your talent to be on a set, to pay you. And they're like, no. It's the lead or nothing. And I'm like, you should really stop now. You should just stop now. I have the worst lighting. It's bugging me so much. I'm trying to light me up, but every time I wind up looking like I'm making money.
It's a little too low.
Have your daughter.
Oh, I love it.
Hell with it.
Well, thank you so much for all of your insights. I mean, you just have so much experience to help share. What is it that we can do for you? What are the projects that you have out there or things that are coming up soon that we can support and cheer you on?
I could tell you. I can only tell you when we're done. They're big. Let me tell you something. I will throw this out. Well, I did just shoot a White Castle commercial, so that was cool.
Nice.
Food. That was it. That's the only reason I did it. And the restaurant was like, he needs to go now. We out of food. No, I did that, so that was cool. And I got other things coming up. But I have two biggies, and I will tell you this. Waiting on a third. I've had the opportunity to work with several directors on my bucket list. Francis Ford Coppola, B.J. Novak, J.J. Abrams. Two I just landed are on my bucket list of biggies. After I work with these two, possibly a third, then I'll only have two more, which are Scorsese and Tarantino. So these next two are that big. Yes. And
nice. That's beautiful.
Make it, and I'm done knowing everybody. No, I don't. It's gonna be fun. I hope they're nice.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. That's a good day on set. That's for sure.
Yeah, everybody's been really supportive. Only one guy was kind of poopy to me. Yeah, but then he wound up being crappy to everybody else. And that's when I did Yellowstone. The director was a little controlly. It was his baby. He was, as I like to say, too close to the project. He wrote it, he directed it, and he was like, nobody's leaving until I get what I want. And this was, I got there at 9 in the morning and I left at 5 in the morning the next day. I was done. And it was murder too, because the guy that did catering was running a grill. You know, it's a Western show. So he's running a grill, and all day, all night, into the wee hour mornings, it's nothing but burgers, hot dogs, steak, chicken. And I'm like, dude,
I feel so
you're
happy.
killing me here. I've had 8 hamburgers, 3 steaks. I can feel my plaque flowing. You have to kill this grill for a while. So that was tough. That was the toughest part for me.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, I'm excited for you. For those of you watching, follow Sean Dillingham, actor here, Facebook as well. Go into the link in his bio. He's just got just so much goodness in there that you can click on and get what you need from there. Definitely get his book or this book that, you know, the book on acting.
What it is you were talking about, but it's good. I wish somebody had written something like this for me when I started. You know, I go over, this is my little sales pitch as I'm reading it. You're a Navy SEAL, making it, taking real classes, a gypsy lifestyle. The toughest part of acting, don't become a perpetual student. The time to start is now. What stands in most people's way? Ha ha! Agents, unions, casting directors, yada, yada, yada.
Everything you need. And you know, that's so true. Like when I started, I didn't have a book. I didn't have something to guide me. You know, and it just bits and pieces throughout the way I've picked up. And you know, if it's in a book right there, especially if you're starting off, you're gonna save yourself so much heartache, so much pain, misery. So yes, definitely get his book.
And that's a good thing that I read that, because I would like to say that. What stands in most people's way? You know what stands in most people's way? Themselves. I can't do it. I can't. I'm too old. I'm too heavy. I'm too this. I'm too that. And I'm like, the time to start is now, because somebody's waiting exactly for your type.
Mm-hmm.
But they throw up so many reasons to say no to themselves that they never even start before they get a chance. They've already convinced and told themselves, nah, I can't do it. And I meet some people just on the street, people that I'm just like, you would be a tremendous actor. And they go, oh yeah, and I'm like, you would. You'd be so good on a commercial or a TV show. And then a lot of people that want to do it go, no, I missed the train. I can't do it. And I'm like, no, you didn't. The time to start is now. Now.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's what stands in most people's way, themselves. Or when I get them in the class and they get difficult, do this. Well, why? Well, do this way. Well, I can't do it that way. You're going to tell that to a director? This is the way I'm going to do it. And the director goes, no, I want you to do it this way. No, I'm going to do it this way. Okay, thanks for coming.
Bye-bye.
So yeah, that's what stands in most people's way. It's just telling themselves they can't do it. There's only one way to do it. They've missed the train. And no, that's not true. You can do it. And you can do it right now. And you can do it still. I work with some people, and I don't want to give away this person, but you know, this is she is 83, living in Sun City, always wanted to be an actress, and said, I'm going to do it now. And has started doing it and started landing commercials, Arizona lottery commercials, and so on and so forth. And the only thing she says is, I wish I would have started sooner.
Yeah.
Exactly. But you know what? It doesn't matter, because you started now. You started now. It's never too late. Never too late.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Sean. I appreciate your time. And I look forward to finally seeing what it is that you have cooking up, coming out, and I'll be happy to share too. So
Big.
go follow him now. Awesome. Thank you so much, Sean.
Have a good day.
Take care. Bye-bye.